Next, on the National Pulses Seminar, you will hear Ms. Cindy Brown, President, Global Pulses Confederation, speak on World Pulses Day. Cindy Brown is co-owner and president of Chippewa Valley Bean and Duane Limited, a family-owned agribusiness that grows, processes and markets dark red, light red and white kidney beans. Ms. Brown is a founding member of the American Pulse Association and has served as president of the U.S. Dry Bean Council and earlier as member of the Department of Agriculture, Trade and Consumer Protection Board for the state of Wisconsin. In June 2019, she was unanimously elected president of the Seoul International Confederation for the Pulses Industry, the Global Pulse Confederation, GPC. The GPC facilitates free and fair trade and increasing production and consumption of pulse crops worldwide. As president of GPC, she leads an executive committee of over 30 international members, over 600 private sector members, and 25 national associations. Ladies and gentlemen, the President, Global Pulses Confederation, Cindy Duane Brown.
Hi, I'm Cindy Brown. I'm the president of the Global Pulse Confederation, and I would like to thank the India Pulses and Grains Association for hosting this conference that recognizes the importance of World Pulses Day. A special thank you to IPGA executive officers and executive director, as well as the other esteemed officials and guests. The Global Pulse Confederation has a very old and long-standing relationship with IPGA as the peak body.
There's some technical glitch. Allow us to get back, please.
Hi, I'm Cindy Brown. I'm the president of the Global Pulse Confederation, and I would like to thank the India Pulses and Grains Association for hosting this conference that recognizes the importance of World Pulses Day. A special thank you to IPGA executive officers and executive director, as well as the other esteemed officials and guests. The Global Pulse Confederation has a very old and long-standing relationship with IPGA as the peak body for the Indian pulses sector. And we are committed to work closely with IPGA as we always have over the course of many years. This year with COVID-19 has been a very challenging year for all of us. We've been locked in for months on end, our routines have been upended, and sadly, we've had friends and family members fall victim to this terrible disease. Mohandas Gandhi, a lifelong vegetarian, was famous for his experimentation with foods and his commentary on the importance of foods to health. In his book, Key to Health, Gandhi wrote, "While it's true that man cannot live without air and water, the thing that nourishes the body is food. Hence the saying, food is life." Over the past year, the importance of pulses in our lives has come into greater focus as we face the unprecedented challenge of COVID-19. And I think it's fair to say that one of the primary lessons of this year has been that our pre-pandemic consumption habits and food production systems were unsustainable. The pandemic brought into clear focus the need to move faster towards more sustainable diets and food systems that have better health outcomes and create less food waste. One of the positive results of COVID-19 might be that it's forced governments and policymakers to re-examine the importance and the interconnection of global food systems and food security in general. And perhaps equally and very importantly, COVID-19 has caused significant beneficial changes to consumer habits, which has had a positive impact on the pulse sector. You know, as a result of these changes, the global industry has seen about a 9% increase in consumption of pulses over the past year. So if we put this in perspective, it's more than double the 4% increased consumption that we estimated happened after the very successful 2016 International Year of Pulses. So let's take some time right now to highlight some of the important consumer changes which have driven that 9% increase. Consumers have increasingly focused on long-lasting, shelf-stable foods like pulses. They've cooked more at home and have eaten out less. They have engaged in more comfort eating, which has led to increased consumption of snack food and junk food, and they have increased their purchases of new plant-based products. There are health concerns that have driven consumer changes as well. Globally, people are paying a lot more attention to safeguarding their health, and as a result, they're increasing their focus on healthier foods like pulses. So consumers have sought out specific foods to boost their immune system. As a result of lockdowns and eating restrictions, many trips to fast food restaurants have also been reduced. As far as purchasing behavior, the pandemic has led to higher price sensitivity for a lot of households, but this can be both positive and negative for the pulse sector. And there are many people worried about long-term employment and income prospects. And because of this, they've started stocking their pantries more, and they're spending less on disposable and discretionary items. Many of these changes in behavior are expected to be long-lasting. So the question for me as president of the Global Pulse Confederation is, how do we continue to maintain this unprecedented growth in consumption? With that in mind, I suggest we should be focused on the following objectives. Together, we should promote the production and consumption of pulses as part of national food security policies. A healthy agricultural sector improves the overall development and progress of a nation. For many farmers around the world, including India, pulse production makes a positive contribution to the sustainability of farmlands, and it positively impacts farmers' living standards. And I know you know that in India more so than most countries. Additionally, pulses help provide food security for many small farm holders. Often they're women who rely on producing a crop to meet their own family's food security needs. And lastly, trade of pulses across borders stabilizes supply, bringing profits to farmers and food to hungry people. GPC, IPGA, and other partners must double up on our efforts to promote the role of pulses as both a vital source of plant protein as well as a crucial part of sustainable production systems. And number two, we need to create greater awareness of the benefits of pulses. More than 2,500 years ago, Hippocrates said, "Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food." While the word nutraceutical did not exist in ancient times, the idea that foods can provide medicinal or health benefits, including the prevention and treatment of disease, is very much an important driver that consumers see, and one that we must continue to connect to pulses. Number three, our goal should be to reinforce and build upon changing dietary patterns and consumer behaviors. 25 years ago, only a minor percentage of consumers considered the relationship between their food choices and sustainability. This is no longer the case. The number of people for which sustainability is a major factor when they make their purchasing and consumption decisions has risen significantly. And having said that, to maintain and build upon the positive changes in the consumption of pulses, We need to tailor our messaging so it reaches the targeted audiences across different generations. We must enable equitable trade impulses that benefits both the producers and the consumers. In order to prevent food shortages or food price inflation, many governments had restricted the sale of exports of certain foods during the pandemic. Other governments put quotas or tariffs in place to protect domestic food producers. And some markets experienced a temporary shortage of supplies, which of course meant that rising household demand also affected the prices of basic foods like pulses. The international pulse trade is critical to food security and livelihoods in many countries. In a global economy, open markets and predictable trade policies are critical if producers of all sizes are to be competitive. For producers to have access to markets, we must remove barriers, ensuring multi-directional trade and opportunities for all participants in the pulse value chain. We must also ensure a commitment to norms and rules that govern trade, such as those of WTO and GATT. In conclusion, COVID-19 has shown us that consumers can be very transformative in terms of causing revolutionary and systematic change. As GPC President, I look forward to working together to build upon the changes brought by COVID, the very positive changes, because I know that together we can support a global transition that includes plant-based sustainable diets and resilient food production systems. Thank you.